today, welcome back to our algebra problem solving sessions. We'll probably do it for an hour from 10 to 11, but since it's almost 10, we can get started. So do you have any questions?
Do you have the homework with you?
1 second. All right, I think I have it.
Okay, so I have a question on question 15.
Okay, is it the y squared plus 18y, that one?
No, it's q squared. And it's like f equals 54.
Oh, okay. Wait, did you guys get new homework?
Question 15, right?
Yeah, but did you guys get new homework? Because if that's the case, then I don't think I have the document.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, could you say that one more time?
We didn't get new homework.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Let me check one more time. Oh, did you say 50?
15.
15? All right. Is it the January, February, March, April, May? Is it the June 25th one?
No, 29.
Okay, yeah, that I don't think I have that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. 1 second. All right. You can try like telling me the problem and then I can.
Yeah. It's if f varies jointly as q squared and h, and for f equals 54 when q equals 3 and h equals 2. Find f when q equals 4 and h equals 3. It's
Okay.
kind of long.
All right. 1 second. I'll see if I can get the document really quickly, okay?
Okay.
Sorry about the wait. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the document right now.
Right, so would the answer be 219? Oh wait, no.
Okay, so I'm looking at the answer choices and there are two with 219. So could you be a little bit more specific and so like what did you get after the 219?
0.52, wait, 219.52.
All right, cool. So that's one of the answer choices. So it should be A. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, cool. No problem. Are there any other questions?
Wait, so speed square is part of the formula, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we wrote that distance equals some constant k times s squared.
I have a question on 22.
All right, so 1 second. So it says the intensity of a radio signal from the radio station varies inversely as the square of the distance from the station. Suppose all right, so let's just call the intensity like I, and we'll call the distance d. All right, can you write out the relationship? So how do we write it out like we did before? So first of all, what's the form going to be? Is it going to be a form 1 or form 2?
1.
Okay, so then let's try writing out the relationship. So how can we relate I with D?
I would be 2 because it says at a distance of 2 miles.
Okay, so we said that so we said that I was going to be intensity, right? And then distance would be D.
Oh, that would mean 8,000.
Uh-huh. So, but first let's try writing out the general formula, right? So like we did before with D equals KS squared, and 4 with, like square equals K over triangle, things like that, because we need to write out the general equation first so we know what we're doing. So if we wanted to write it like this of form 1 here, what should we do? So what does it mean to vary inversely as the square? Okay, I think maybe this might not be making a lot of sense. So let's try going over, just what it means to vary inversely first of all. Okay, so if let's say we have an inverse relationship where x equals just like 1 over y. So this is an inverse relationship, right? So how can you tell? Well, what happens as what happens when y gets bigger and bigger and bigger? What happens to x?
Does X get smaller?
Yeah, x gets smaller and smaller as y gets bigger and bigger. So if y is 2, x is a half. When y is 3, x is a third. When y is 100, x is 1 over 100. So it gets smaller as y gets bigger. That's what it means for it to be an inverse relationship. As one gets smaller, the other gets bigger. As x gets bigger, this one gets smaller. All right, on the other hand, if we just have a direct relationship where we have, x equals, let's just say x equals y. What happens as x gets bigger?
Y gets bigger.
All right, y gets bigger, so it's a direct relationship. As one thing changes in one direction, the other thing changes in the same direction. Okay, so what does it mean for to have an inverse square relationship? Instead of 1, I'm just going to put k because that's, supposed to be there. It's just some constant. It doesn't matter what it is. And this is all it means. It just means y gets bigger, um, like in squares. So when y, so it pretty much means that x gets smaller a little more quickly, right? So instead of just when y is 3, x isn't going to be 1/3, it's going to be 1/9. It's going to be 1/9. So it gets smaller a little more quickly. That's all it means. If it's a direct square, then we just have that x equals ky squared. Oh, all right. So it looks like I have a time limit right now because I'm not using a different account, but so I might have to make a new meeting and then have you guys join one more time. Is that okay? So I'm gonna send a new code a little later, maybe in like 5 or so minutes. So just be aware of that because I'm on a limit, unfortunately. But anyway, now we know all this stuff. So knowing that, how should we write this new relationship? Okay, so how would we write this new relationship since we just went over inverse square, so how would we write it?
You could.
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Yep.
Is that not working?
Yeah, it's working. I can hear you.
Is it k times 1 over d?
Okay, you're so close. You got the inverse part right, but it says inversely as the square of the distance. So it's telling you all you need for the problem. It's telling you, it varies inversely as the square of the distance. So is it just going to be distance? What's the square of the distance?
Is it D?
Okay, so it in the problem it tells us, right? It says it varies inversely as the square of the distance. All right, what's the square of 3?
9.
Sorry, what was that?
9.
Yeah, it's just 9. What's the square of 10?
100.
100.
What's the square of cat?
Cat square?
All right, so what's the square of D?
Uh, D squared.
Yeah, it's just D squared. It tells you all you need in the problem. It's telling you it varies inversely as what is it? The square of the distance. So, it's the same as an inverse relationship except distance is squared. If instead the problem said something like it varies inversely as the cube of the distance, how would we write it?
K times 1 over D cubed.
Exactly, perfect. And that's all there is to it. It's just a type of relationship. Okay, so let's try doing the problem now. It says the intensity varies inversely as the square of the distance. So it says suppose the intensity is 8,000 units at a distance of 2 miles. So we can solve for k because it gives us this information. So what do we replace I with and what do we replace d with? Okay, it looks like I only have 3 minutes left right now, so pretty soon I'm gonna have to make a new meeting. So I'll send the code later and then you can try joining again if
Wait, so is I equals 8,000, right?
yeah.
Okay. That means D equals 2, so it'll be 2 square, right?
Yep.
Is the answer for 22? Is it B?
Is it what B or D? What was that?
Is it
B? Yeah, it's B. So yeah, we just have to solve for K and it's just 8,000 times 4. Plug it back in here and then, solve again. All right, so I have less than a minute left, so um ask your parents, I guess, for the new code and then I'll see you in like 1 minute. Okay?
okay?
Yeah, you're gonna have to join again, my bad.